Hi, it's Sara Stovetop coming to you live from my kitchen, and I am here to, give you a little bit behind the scenes of when I am going live and what I do before I go live. So I've written out a little script for myself, and that's one of the first things that I do is kind of make an outline. But let me go through it with you, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. Of course, you can, like this and send heart emojis or whatever, thumbs up across the screen. I'd love that. I'd love for this to be a bit interactive, but I do have some things I want to tell you about. So, hi Hilda, thank you for watching. So this is one of the nice things about a Facebook Live is that your friends can pop in and say hi. And we're doing this to show you in Livestream 101 to show you kind of some of the things that you need to do to set up before you go live. So first I have to decide what I'm showing or making. So I do a Facebook Live party I do a Facebook Live show every Tuesday. It's called Tool Time Tuesday, and time is THYME, like this herb. And basically because I'm cooking a lot of times, or I'm showing a cooking tool. So that is the best, that's kind of the best advice I can get, is just to make sure that you kind of know what you want to talk about. And then the steps I take, I kind of line up my tools and my ingredients on the countertop, and I'm ready to go. Now, I don't have a dedicated space for doing my lives because it's the kitchen and everybody uses the kitchen. And I have a husband and a son that's living at home, and sometimes they're a little messy. So the thing I have to do when I'm going through is I have to make sure that I've done most of my cutting or most of my measuring beforehand. I have all my tools in place. I use my flexible cutting mat, which I'll show you in a minute, or a cutting board as like a place where I do most of the work, that when I turn my camera down, you can see, so I know exactly where it's going to be. Now, it's never centered across the screen properly, but because of the angles of my cabinets and my countertops, that's just the way I have to work. So you have to work with what you've got. Okay, so I always try to check my camera angles first. And I also try to check myself in selfie mode to see what else is in the frame. So behind me, it's my right shoulder. I don't know if it's your right shoulder for you. The perspective always throws me off. So you can see my coffee pot there. And is that my coffee pot? Yeah, coffee pot, and my little indentation with my all my canisters and stuff. That's over my right shoulder. I don't know if it's your left shoulder. And then over my left shoulder, you can see into my dining room a little bit. You can see that there's some fruit and stuff that's getting ripe on the countertop there, and I don't know if you can see, there's some tools back here, and my toaster. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll remove those. I'll put them on the table so that, that's not in the camera. So you want to make sure it's a little bit less cluttered behind you because people are looking at the whole frame. So let's see what else. I always clean all the surfaces, okay, because I'm a cook. I want to make sure that I'm starting off with, no crumbs on the counter, that kind of thing. Not that you can see it, but I know it's there and it throws me off a little bit. Maybe it's a little, I don't know, a little OCD, maybe. So anyway, so I move all the things that are, going to be in the frame that might draw people's attention away from what I'm doing. Then I set up the camera, and sometimes I'll check the flip side, because if I'm going to be holding up something that you want to read, like for example, I'm getting ready to do a Facebook Live showing how to make granola. So look you can see that it says rolled oats, but it's backwards. So if I wanted to flip it, you go on the little, looks like a magic wand. And at the very bottom, and I'm just describing this as I'm doing it, on the very bottom right is a little tool kit, it looks like. And when you press that, it comes up and you can flip it. So now, see how it's flipped? Now, you're seeing my kitchen probably from the right perspective. But for me, it's off. And it throws me off every time I do that, but I'll leave it on so you guys can see it. So this is what my kitchen actually looks like. And this is my right shoulder. This is my left shoulder. But when I'm looking at it, it's opposite. So it's better for you guys though. So then there's a little arrow that points down, and you can remove that part of the screen and come back, because then you can see the chat. Okay, so the chat will scroll up for me on the left side of my screen, and you'll notice I have it horizontal instead of vertical. I just find that works better for me, and I think that's better on Facebook. I think when you're doing Instagram Live, I think you have to have it vertical. So I do horizontal. Okay, so then, yes, it is hard without a dedicated space, Lisa. Thank you. You're absolutely right. So, it just takes me a little extra prep, and that's fine. So now we're on the flipped camera, so you should be able to read this. Can you read this? Let me know. And see, here's what it is. I'm turning it the wrong way, and that's because my perspective is off, but at least you'll be able to read it. So please let me know in the chat if you can read it the correct way. Okay, I do have a script here, so let's see. I already have prepared my title thank you, Lisa. I've already prepared my title. I always do that in Evernote, and I add emojis, just because, where's my, yeah. So I can copy and paste it, and I don't have to think about it. That's just, what I do. And when I do Tool Time Tuesday, because I number the episodes, I can just go in, change the number, put in what I'm making or whatever, showing. And so a lot of it's already set up. And if you do something regularly like that, that's a great way to do it. Let's see. I always try to check my hair, my hands, and my clothing to make sure that, I don't have any stains on my apron or anything like that. I put on and nobody wants to see me as a hot mess. I mean, let's face it. But there are days when it's like a rush to get everything ready. Okay, so let's see. I check for any last minute adjustments. Remember, we're real people. This is not, we're not in a studio. We're not making, a video that's going to, take over the world or something like that. We're just us. We're showing our products. We're showing, how to do something. We're talking about something we're passionate about. And that's what's going to shine through. And that's what's the most important thing for getting these videos and getting more comfortable on camera. Talk about something that you know. It's like they say, write what you know. Same thing with a live video. Talk about and show things that you know, because that's what's going to shine through, that you're passionate about it. I often forget an ingredient or a tool. That's just the way, and that's the way I am personally. So it's okay to say, oops, I forgot that, and I go to the refrigerator, or I go to the drawer and pull it out. Or somebody asks about a tool that I'm not planning to show, and I can go and pull it out if it's close by. And that's okay, it really is, because you're showing that you're real. I've gotten better with the but I still do them. And that's also the way I am, I think, in real life. I'm not sure, actually. I think because you're thinking more about what you're doing on camera, you may have more because you need that space to think. Let's see. I often decide what I'm doing that day, and I just prep about a half hour ahead, sometimes without a script. But I don't recommend that if you're not familiar with what you're talking about. It's okay for viewers to see that you have a script. Here's my script. The more you do this, the more comfortable you will get. And I do suggest a test video. So I've done this so many times now, I don't really test myself unless I'm talking about something I'm not sure about, or I haven't talked about enough. A new tool, let's say, that just came out and I'm still getting used to developing my spiel about it. So for that, I will do a test on camera, and I'll watch myself, and I'll be like, oh no, I didn't do that right. And I'll do it again and again until I get really comfortable with it. Oh, thank you, Hilda, oh yeah, sometimes I watch the replay. Okay, yes, I know, and sometimes you're on there live. It's wonderful when you join, and I love for people to join. Let's see. Okay, for viewers, sorry, I got a little lost. The test, okay. test at least part of what you plan to do. So the hardest part for me is still looking at myself on the screen instead of at the little camera thing. So here's what I do. Whoops. I take, oh, it fell off. I take a sticky and I write, look here. And I paste it underneath the camera hole or across the screen just to remind myself. I don't do it all the time. I know I should. It's, I think, human nature. When something's moving, you're going to watch that as opposed to something that's just sitting there. And that's the other thing. You want viewers to feel like you're talking directly to them. And that's why it's important to do that. But we all do not talk directly at someone all the time. So we look away to gather our thoughts, we come back, and so that's natural. So you're being natural on camera, and I think that that is also important to show. I like action in my videos, that's why I cook. I'm not good with just standing in one place, and I think that's why I like to show, you know, more than one tool, or I'm doing a cooking video. So I like to move on camera. And so let me show you, I was going to show you how it looks from my perspective when I am getting ready for a video. And I'm wondering about the lighting. That's something I forgot to talk about. So right now I have, okay, that's without any lights on in my kitchen. And I think it's a little dark. So this is one light on behind the camera, and this is underneath the counter. And then I'm going to turn on the other lights so you can see. So sometimes it's good to check that. I forgot to do that though. Sometimes I'll have a halo over my head and then I turn it off. You know, I have to figure that out because I may be in a different part of my kitchen. So let me show you what it looks like from my perspective. Now, I just got a new tripod and a new holder, and I'm going to flip the camera. Let me double check. Okay, so I'm going to show you out the window. So you're going to see, here is, I'm going to step back. Okay, lighting is difficult, Lisa, you're right. Okay, so here is, okay, and I think the perspective also flipped because, let's see. Okay, it's so weird. Okay, so normally what you're seeing, the bookcase is here over by my my table and where the computer is and all, or the TV is and all the mess. Okay, I'll just do around it. Okay, it's the different perspective. So now we're heading toward the windows and out toward the ravine. We have this lovely view out the window of nature, which I love. And then I'm going to come down. Here's my camera, okay, or my tripod, excuse me. And this is new camera holder. It instead of just going by tension, it goes. I screw it in, and then this is my new tripod. Here are my notes. Okay, so here is. I'm getting ready to do quick stovetop granola, and here is. Yeah, you can tell it's backwards again. So here is the here's my cutting board and our cutting mat on top of it, just so I have a place to put to focus on for my camera. It makes it a little bit easier for me. And then here is what I'm going to be cooking with, my big pan, my 12-inch pan. And then, okay, now we're heading, there's the dining room, and you can see there's stuff on the table. I don't really want people to see that for the most part. I hope they don't. And then I've cleaned off the counter, but I didn't take off the, oh, you want to be in my video? Okay, let's see if I can add you in. How do I add you? Oh, darn. Oh, well, I can't add you. Okay, okay, so then here's my my toaster, you know, some food that's ready to go. And here's my husband coming in too. And here's the coffee pot and my oven and the refrigerator. And now we're back to the beginning. I hope I didn't make you dizzy. All right, I'm gonna turn it around. And there I am. Okay, so I'm going to put you back in my holder, and I'm going to show you what happens when I'm cooking and I have to turn the camera down. So hold on, I'm I don't want my camera to fall out. Okay, so here I am, I'm cooking. Oh, and my dog Hobbs may come in. He's the star of a lot of my videos. Come here, Hobbs. Come here, baby. Sit. Can you see him? Good boy. So a lot of times, stay, sit. I know you just came in from your walk, so you want your biscuit. So let me get your biscuit for you. Oh. So a lot of times I'll have to do this. I'll have to give him his biscuit. So come on over and sit. Okay, you ready? Okay. So there he is, Hobbs, the star of the video, almost always. Much better. Is that my phone or computer? Oh, I'm on my phone. I'm using my phone. I think that's what you're asking. Okay. Hello. Oh, I can't read that. Carol. Hello, Carol. Welcome. Okay, so we're just about finished up. I didn't want to go too long, but so I've given you a kind of a tour of behind the scenes, making sure that my counter is clear and everything. And let's see, I think I've gone through my whole script. Yes. Okay, so here we go. So when I'm cooking, I'll be talking, and I might be showing a tool, you know, talking about it. I like to do a lot of movement just because I move a lot, and that's just the way I am. I might show, you know, an ingredient. So I like to do a lot of that, but then I also have to turn the camera down because you have to see what I'm doing. So let's say I'm going to be chopping some pecans. So I will say, okay, we're going to use the food chopper, and we're going to put some in here in the lid. We only need a 1/4 cup, and that's the perfect measurement. And then let me show you how I do it. And then I'll take, my tripod has the ability to shift back and forth, and I forgot to show you that, so I'll do that afterwards. So then I will just take it, and I will put it down so that you can see. See, remember I put this in my frame, and I'll show what I'm doing, and then I can turn it back up. Uh-oh, rotate your phone. Oh, you can't. Oh, I don't know why I did that, but I hope you guys saw that. Let me know if that wasn't clear to you. And that way, and then I can talk again, and I can turn it down and back and back. So that's how oh, I know what happened. Yeah. So I like to be able to show what I'm doing. I also need to move the camera, the whole tripod, because you can't see you can't see what's in the pan that I'm cooking with on the stove. So a lot of times I'll have to pick you up and move you. So sometimes I'm out of the frame, it's okay. And then you just set up, and I'll turn the camera down so that you can see what's on this burner. I rarely cook on any of the other burners because it's just too hard. Over here, let me turn the camera a little bit so you can see. So over here, the counter is too small to fit the tripod legs. And I know I can change the tripod leg width, stance, but it lifts it up higher, and I'm short. And so I'm like going like this in order to try and talk into the camera. So that's something that you should definitely know about, especially if you're moving around. And then the last thing is sometimes I set things up over here because I have a counter that is slightly lower. Can you see the difference here? So this is my baking area. So it's a little bit lower because I'm short, and I need to be able to do things where you're putting your weight on them, and so I had it made a little bit shorter. So this one actually is better for me most of the time because I can look directly at the camera without going up. So that's something that I've just learned over time, and you will learn also when you work on yours. So here I didn't put anything down here, but I would have to turn the camera into this area so that I can work because there's not enough space. It's just really one area. And then you got to get one of those. Yes, it is nice. And then over here, so I go to the counter that's next to it, so you can see over my shoulder here, you can see, so I would have cleared this out if I was working on here so that I had the whole counter. Let's see. And then the same thing. So sometimes I'll have things lined up on this counter. And so I want to make sure that this is all cleared out and ready and I've got things set up. And then I might go back over to the stove. So I'm moving around my kitchen a lot. Not with everyone. And see, okay, look at this perspective. So look at how bright it is over this shoulder. So a lot of times I'll have to adjust. I wouldn't want to be like this. I'd have to put it like this so that it's not too light. So that, yeah, these are the things that you have to consider, and you learn. Don't feel bad about not knowing exactly what is, so and this is the last perspective. So back, and you can see into my dining room, you can see the stove, you can see the coffee pot and the, well, maybe you can't see, maybe that's the toaster. So you have to be able to be aware of what's behind you, especially when you're working in such a busy environment. If you had your own dedicated space where you could just put a backdrop up, that would be awesome. Oh, and guess what? This little thing that I use to say, look here, keeps falling off. That's another reason why it's so hard. But I try to put that up there so that I do look at the camera, and at least most of the time. I hope I was. So that is the behind the scenes. And I'm getting ready to make some stovetop granola. So if you want to see me do that, I'm on my business page is Sara Stovetop, so you can get on there in a few minutes. I'll be doing a live on there. And do you have any questions? Because I'm happy to answer them. But I appreciate that you've been so interactive, Lisa and Carol and Zinga, and let's see who else is on here. Hilda. Okay, I don't know who else is here. But I'd love for you guys to ask any questions you have, and you know, otherwise I think I'm going to get off. It's about 11:22, and I know that may be I don't want it to run too long. But if you have any questions, feel free to put it below in the chat, and I will answer them. And I thank you all for joining in today. And for those who are watching on the replay, you always want to mention your replay viewers, which I forget at the beginning, but I always add at the end. So I need to be better about that. My next video, I'm going to do that. Hope you have a great Sunday, and I'll see you in Livestream 101 chat. Thanks. Bye-bye.